everyone, thanks for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to make a loom knit pumpkin. I already have another video on a loom knit pumpkin, but this one is a little bit different and you'll see why. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up because it really does help me. This pumpkin I'm making for my friend Lynette Yoder, and she is a YouTuber. If you haven't checked her out, go to her channel. You'll love her. She has organization, hauls, all sorts of things. She's very inspiring, and cleaning videos, which I just love. Ring that notification bell in the corner and you will get notified every time I upload a video. We're going to start by taking our yarn and making a slip knot. And we're going to place that slip knot on the anchor peg on the outside of the loom. So just slip that on and then tighten it. You don't have to tighten it too tight, but tighten it enough that it's firm and secure. So now we're going to do the drawstring cast on. So we're going to go behind the first peg, in front of the second, behind the third, in front of the fourth. And we're just going to take turns going behind and in front of the pegs. We're going to do this the entire way around the loom until we get back to our anchor peg. So now we're back and we're going to move this tail. Now we're going to go in front of the last peg. Let me bend this down here. Okay, now we're going to put that working yarn behind the first peg and we're going to start wrapping. Now we're only going to knit over the pegs that have 2 strands of yarn on them. So the second, as you can see here, so we skip the next one. Now we're going to do this one. I suggest taking these pegs a little at a time. If you try to do or wrap too many in the front, it's a little overwhelming and you tend to lose grip of what you have. So a little tip for beginners is just wrap a few at a time. Okay, we're getting towards the end, back to our anchor peg. So again, we're just knitting over on the pegs that have 2 stitches. So we're getting towards the end. We only have a few more to go. So we're going to knit this stitch over and knit this stitch over. Now our next peg is empty, but we're going to wrap it. So now we're going to do the E-wrap. So again, that peg 1 will be empty, but you'll want to put one wrap around it, and then we're going to continue doing the E-wrap the whole way around the loom. The E-wrap is just taking your working yarn and making small little E's. I do have another pumpkin video, so if you're familiar with that one, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just do the basic E-wrap. This is quite similar to that pattern. There's just a few changes. So keep going around the loom, and then we're going to knit off. So we went all the way around the loom, so we're going to take the bottom stitch and put it over the top. This will actually be row 1. For a pumpkin, I would say you could do anywhere between 10 to 15 rows. It's up to you because it's your pumpkin. So if you want a bigger pumpkin, then you just do bigger rows. We're to the point now where we can actually release the slip knot off of the peg. So you just take it off that anchor peg and pull. And then what I'm going to do is pull it down. I'm trying to show you. Just pull that tail down so it's out of your way, because you're not going to need it until the end of your project. So once the tension gets tight, you'll know it doesn't feel the same. It feels like you might start stretching the project. That's your red flag. It's time to take that stitch off of the anchor peg. So that's your slip knot, just needs removed. Pull it, put it in the back of the loom where it's not in your way, and then continue your E-wrap. Now it's time to take our pumpkin off of the loom. So take your working yarn and wrap it around your loom about 1.5 times, and then give the yarn a snip. Take your yarn tool, and we're going to place that tail end below the stitch on the peg, just like we're doing a purl stitch. Just bring it through, make a loop, and pull it out. Do this on each one of the pegs until you get back to the anchor peg. So we're getting down to the end of our loom, back to the anchor peg, and we're slipping those pegs, the stitches off of the pegs as we go to keep the tension from being too tight. Thankfully, we are about done here. Okay, now your pumpkin is off of the loom. So we're going to put it inside out and pull on the string to close the hole up. And then I always tie a knot to secure the yarn because we don't want it to come undone. So tie a knot, tie a double knot, whatever you're good with. So pull on that. Then you can cut that string because that's going to be a little too big. And we don't need to sew the loose end in because it's inside of a pumpkin. So now it's time to stuff our pumpkin. So you'll just need some basic pillow stuffing. So you can judge when you're doing your own how full you want it, or how, you can put a lot of stuffing, or, just keep it medium, whatever you want to do. This is your pumpkin and you can make it however you want. So now we're going to close up this hole on top. Once we get where we need to be with the amount of stuffing you're going to have, then you're going to want to pull the hole or pull the string and close the hole. At this point, once you close that hole, we're going to decide where we want our little grooves for the pumpkin to be. Because what we're going to do is thread our darning needle and start making our way, creating the grooves of the pumpkin. So here I am just trying to figure out where I want my indentations, or I also call them the grooves of the pumpkin. So what you're going to do is go in the middle of the pumpkin and just work your way back and forth and separate. Like you'll go up and then you'll move to a different spot. And then you'll make another one, take it down and up through the pumpkin, just as I'm doing here. Now I do have the hole up at the top and it will close some more, but I'm also going to be adding a stem to the pumpkin, which will hide this. Also, this may not be perfect the first time you do it. Sometimes it takes a little finagling through the stuffing to figure out what you're doing, but thankfully no pumpkin is shaped perfect, and if it's a little misshaped, then so be it. It's your project. So once you're done designing where you want the little grooves to be in your pumpkin, you'll just want to tie a knot with this yarn to make sure it's secure. Okay, now we're going to make the stem of the pumpkin. So we're going to start by making a slip knot and attaching it right by the anchor peg. Go ahead and actually put it on your loom. So it doesn't have to be too tight, but just firm. So we're going to wrap, just like the E-wrap, just make little E's. And we're going to go 4 times. And then I'm going to take my working yarn and place it in front of the loom. And then just knit over. So now I'm going to take that yarn, pull it behind the pegs, and then place it again in the front. And then again, I'm going to knit over those pegs. So I'm going to continue this process until I get to the length of the stem that I need. So again, wrap it behind and in front, and then knit over. And do this until you get the length of stem that you're looking for. Okay, so now we're going to take the stem off of the loom. I've worked and my stem is as long as I want it, so I'm going to move that peg over and then knit over. Now I'm going to do the same on the other end and knit that peg over. Now I'm going to wrap the two and knit over the two from the front. Then take that stitch, place it on the last one. So now we're going to take it off of the loom. And tie it off. So give it a cut, put that tail through the loop, and knot it. Now we're ready to sew it on our pumpkin. Now we're sewing our stem onto the pumpkin, and you can do this however you want. What I'm actually going to do is bend it to make it look a little short and big, like short and wide. So I'm actually going to sew it, start at the bottom and make it secure. And then I'm going to take the top, I think, and sew it to the bottom as well, just to make it look a little thick and more wide rather than long. But you can actually do it any way you want. If you want a longer one, make a longer one. I think I'm going to like the way this is going to look. So I will show you. Again, you're just sewing it and hiding it and then coming back up. Just make sure it's secure. So the stem was the last part of the pumpkin, and now your pumpkin is done. This is how mine's looking. And again, you can customize this however you want. I hope this has inspired you to make a pumpkin of your own. And that's going to do it for our Loom Knit Pumpkin. Thanks for watching, and I will see you at the next one.